continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
Lee Weber is determined to harass Ann Howard, to crowd her, to push her, to force her to stop her investigation of the accident that blinded his brother Chris many years ago. Now he sees the main chance. Chris Weber was admitted to the hospital last night as the result of an unfortunate accident on the Peyton Place wharf. An accident that Lee insists was caused by Ann Howard.
Very well, Mr. Devon. I'll see that Dr. Rossi gets your message. You're welcome.
I'm Lee Weber. I'd like to see my brother, Chris.
Just a moment, I'll see if he's allowed any visitors this morning. Yes, you can see your brother, Mr. Weber. He's in room B.
Is Dr. Morton still head man here at the hospital?
He's the director of the hospital.
Thanks.
Heartbeat 120. It's going to be a boy.
You're hedging your bet, Bob. Now, the last 3 times you said a girl, now it's going to be a boy.
Which just proves we won't really know until September 4th.
September the 12th.
Now, who's speculating?
Well, Allison was 2 weeks late.
Well, Allison was the first child. They're usually late.
It's been a long time since then. Shouldn't we call this my second first child?
All right. But whenever he's ready, we'll be ready.
You'll be ready. You're the doctor.
You will be, too. I won't bother to tell you how wonderful you're looking. I'm sick and tired of always complimenting you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Connie.
Dr. Morton, you remember me?
Why, of course, Lee. How are you?
Fine, sir. I hope you don't mind me barging in like this.
I was sorry to learn about your brother's accident.
Yeah. I'd appreciate it if you'd take a look at Chris when you get the time. I mean, I know Dr. Rossi is taking good care of him and all that, but, well, you saved his life once when he was blinded.
I wish it would have been possible to save his sight, too.
Well, he's alive and kicking. That's the important thing. I just thought Chris would feel a lot better if he knew you were around, too.
I'll be happy to see him. And now, if you don't mind...
Dr. Morton?
If it's about the hospital bill, Lee, don't worry about it.
Well, I can afford to pay the hospital bill as long as you don't keep Chris here too long. Just one thing. You have a woman that works here, Ann Howard. I wish you'd keep her away from my brother.
I don't know exactly what you're referring to. Miss Howard's a physical therapist. She'd have no reason to come in contact with your brother.
Well, she's the one who pushed Chris off the bluff. Ever since Ann Howard came back into town, she's been bothering Chris about it, asking him questions about what happened up on the bluff, upsetting him and pestering him about it. Well, she's made Chris a nervous wreck.
Do you know why she's doing this?
She's trying to force Chris to say that she wasn't the one who pushed him off the bluff. I don't know, so she can sleep better at night. She's even got her lawyer bugging him about it. Dr. Morton?
I can assure you that she won't disturb your brother.
It's her fault that he's in the hospital right now. She got him so upset that he fell off the wharf trying to get away from her. I know it's true because I saw the whole thing happen. I guess the reason I'm telling you all of this is because Chris is too shy and too sensitive of a kid to speak up for himself.
Get me Miss Howard. I'll take care of this immediately.
Well, thank you, Dr. Morton.
I appreciate your coming to me. Miss Howard?
Yes, Dr. Morton.
I'll explain later at our meeting this afternoon, But until then, I must instruct you to stay away from Chris Webber.
Well, Doctor, I don't know what you've heard, but...
Heard what I said, Miss Howard. Under no circumstances are you to speak to Chris Webber.
Yes, Dr. Morton.
Chris,
What?
how do you feel?
Okay.
You're a real chatterbox. I had a talk with an old buddy of yours, Dr. Morton. He says he's going to keep Ann Howard from coming near you. It's about time she's had to answer to somebody.
It wasn't her fault.
Wasn't her fault. She had you worked up to such a high pitch last night, you could have killed yourself.
But I didn't.
I saw what happened.
I am telling you it wasn't her fault. And I am telling you I don't need a seeing eye brother to tell me what's happened to me. I've got a brain of my own. And I've been lying here using it. I've been thinking about everything that's happened.
Okay. You're a college type. I have to crawl in grease to pay my rent, so that makes me stupid, and you know everything? What's there to think about? When you were a kid, Ann Howard wanted to see how high you'd bounce off those rocks at the bottom of the bluff. You got lucky. You didn't die. You just went blind.
It seems to me your hobby these days, other than racing motorcycles and hitting the bottle, is cutting Ann Howard's throat. And I can't figure out why. Why, Lee? Why?
I don't mind paying your hospital expenses. But if all you're going to do is lie there and think up of a bunch of stupid questions that you're going to ask me, you can do that at home. It's a lot cheaper.
Oh, I'll pay you back for this. You can bet on that. I'll pay you back for everything. Don't ask me to buy your broken record on Ann Howard, because I'm not going to do that. I don't care what you blame it on, big brother, but I'm beginning to doubt what you've had me believing all these years. I am beginning to doubt that she pushed me off that bluff. Did you hear what I said?
I heard you, boy.
I said I am beginning to doubt.
You shut up!
Hi. Grandfather isn't here yet.
Oh, Mrs. Cord just called a few minutes ago. They're on their way.
Well, I hope he's all right.
He will be.
How can you be so sure?
Well, the only reason your grandfather went into the hospital was to avoid questions.
I see now that Mr. Colby is dead and buried, the coast is clear.
Exactly.
I think you're wrong, Betty.
I hope so, Rod, for your sake. Let's see how much he's willing to tell you.
Hello, Rodney.
Hello, Grandfather.
I think you'd better lie down, Martin.
In a minute, Hannah. I've been in bed long enough.
Welcome home, Mr. Peyton.
Thank you, Betty. Rodney.
Mrs. Cord? May I see you for a moment?
I think a little later, Betty. I have instructions to give to the cook now. Would you mind preparing Mr. Peyton's room?
Not at all.